All right, how are you doing? He's hoping that all is well with you. We have decided to take the show outside of the studio into some comfortable environment out here. The wind and the breeze is just awesome. It is one-on-one, and my name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. My guests in studio are girls in ICT, and today we're going to be looking into the issue of why we don't have so many ladies involved in issues of technology. Lucy Mbabazi and Esther Kunda. Welcome to One-on-One.
Thank you.
Once again, it's not one-on-one anymore.
It's one.
Two-on-one. But let's get into the matters of the day, and probably first of all, looking at the background of you two, where you are deeply involved, or what you're deeply involved in, is encouraging more girls in technology. And so the first question that comes on board is, are you too concerned at the fact that we don't seem to see more or hear of more ladies in this particular sector of ICT? Let's start with Lucy.
Absolutely. I mean, we obviously, we came together inspired by the ITU Girls in ICT Day. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure it wouldn't have happened if we had many women in tech. When you do go to classrooms in universities, when you go to offices, you find that there's barely ladies that are in the technology field. And so we wanted to carry the torch of technology being cool. You can do it as a lady. It doesn't take away from everything else that you have to do as a woman. And if we can do it, you certainly can do it. So the dearth of women in technology, if you look at any boardroom, if there's a technology conversation happening, you will rarely find women in
ladies there.
Or if they're there, it's 1 out of 15 men.
But the concern is, is there anybody to blame for this, or this is just natural that we should say, listen, this is how things are, and much as we try to involve them, we will still have the situation as it is. Should we say that this is natural? Is it normal?
It's not. It's really not natural, because when you look at statistics, when kids are still young, boys and girls all have the same aspiration. Girls will still want to go into technology. They'll be interested in technology. Boys will be interested in technology. But as they grow up, that's when we start saying we start seeing it diminishing. Like the number of people of girls are less than the number of boys, and then we get to boardrooms. There's, as Lucy said, 1 female against 15 men. So it's more of the environment where we grow up, and it has been, women have never been encouraged to actually strive to
join these kind of sectors.
Technology.
But then, do you have targets? Do you have numbers that you say, by 2015 these are the numbers that we want to have achieved, by 2020 these are the numbers that we're looking for, that if you go to a boardroom you will find this ratio of women to men that are in the technology departments? Do you have numbers?
I think we are thinking more at the early stages of primary school and secondary school, and even when someone is still formulating what they want to do in university. That's where we are targeting, because we know that if we invest in helping them understand the value that technology brings, the simplicity that it brings to life, and the attraction of it as a career choice, then in the future we will be able to see that effect in the boardroom. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but I think if we start engaging now, we will, by I think 2020, be able to see more women involved in technology as a career. When we see students graduating, we will see more women engineers graduating as well. So our goal is to just reach every primary school child, which we typically do on Girls in ICT Day. We'll do some sort of activity to raise awareness, but with our limited resources, we will be limited within Kigali. But we would want to go to every single school, or at the very least, go to every single district and talk about this from the rooftops and showcase the
Some
number.
of the success stories for them to also want to be part of this success.
Yeah, for them to see an array of women in tech and what they're doing today, and that they're still able to be a wife and have children, etc., as they're doing this. So I think for those of us that are doing technology, that are in tech, it's a passion that we picked up because of market forces. But at home, that wasn't there. I mean, even our parents still struggle to maybe for me at least, I guess I'm older, and our parents have the legacy of having grown up in a refugee camp, and then went on to have a difficult life, and education was truly a challenge, and it wasn't as available to them. They were studying under trees. We have the opportunity to be in class, so there is no way that they could have really encouraged us. But when we did grow up and found a passion, they certainly support it.
Okay.
And so what we want is for the next generation to know technology and really see it as something that they can be able to do. And frankly, Rwanda has all the environment is just right for that.
Right for this.
Yes.
But then when you move to these schools, when you engage these young ladies with a passion or with an aim of making them also feel that they too can be part of technology and still be what they're supposed to be in their homes, work together with their spouses, or still be those ladies that they want to be, but still engage in technology. What are those things that you find on the ground that make you really feel that this is the reason why these numbers are low?
So specifically, we've been able to go to various schools. We started in schools around Kigali, the normal schools we know, and then we've also tried to go up country, and we meet various girls who are in different environments. So some of them might live in Kigali, they have access to technology, to devices, to internet. Others have never touched a computer, and even if you give them at their schools, they only have like one desktop, which they share among 200 students at that school. So what the common goal, the common concept there is, they do not know exactly how they can use ICT and technology in whatever career they want to go to. So mostly girls in urban areas would say technologists for social media. We go on Facebook, we go on Google, we could do this and this. But then they do not understand that if you're a doctor, there's some application that you can use. There's if you're a lawyer, you can be able to do this using technology, but also you can be one of the greatest programmers and maybe have the next Facebook of Rwanda. So all those ideas are the ones that we want to instill in them. And then girls in rural areas, for them they say this is something for
those in town,
for those in town who have means, but also for boys. Like for us girls here, our parents tell us to look for a career that is not that technical, so that tomorrow we're able to cater for our children. We're at home. We're able to raise our children while the husbands are really working hard to. So those are the two different
levels of some of the things that pull them down.
But the bottom line is, both of whether you're in rural or in an urban area, are you able to understand how technology and ICT is going to help you achieve any career, or even go into technology and see that it's not going to leave you out of your home. It's not going to be, if you're using technology,
you can work at home.
Yeah, you can work at home. That is the beauty of it, and then your kid is there running, so you're able to manage that kind. If your husband needs you to actually look after the kid, then you're able to do it. But if you're a programmer, you program at home, you're a lawyer, you have your office at home. So it's the little things that we have to showcase and actually show that technology now enhances everything you want to achieve
to do. So are we trying to make people stop going to the offices? Some people start saying, look at these ones. The boss wants to see you so that they know that you came to work today. We have these situations where if they didn't see you, then you didn't work.
Well, I mean, and you see, that's the legacy of the things, of what we have, is that people think that you have to be physically in a place to work. But the beauty of technology is that you can work remotely by telecommuting. You're able to do exactly what you're required to do wherever you are, powered by technology. And so I think many companies are seeing the value in reducing operating costs of having an office, running an office, making sure there is water, making sure there is tea, etc., and just having people work in the convenience of their home, but still be able to deliver on the KPIs. I mean, for me, I'm on the road a lot. But it does not mean that my work will not get done. And I can do it whether I'm on vacation or I'm in office or I'm mobile. I can work on my phone. I could do different things. So those are the things that we're still battling with, and I think we'll have to get to a point where employers will have to appreciate that even if you hire a lady, if she's to get pregnant and have a child, it's not going to take away
from
exactly
performing.
They can still be able from performing. Here we have this debate of maternity, and employers are grappling with why should they pay someone who is not there full time. Maybe we simplify that with technology, and allowing the woman to do things and still be able to nurture their child and then be able to work, and they're not losing out on that very important income that is needed anyway to support the family. So I think the most important thing is to have girls understand that technology is a tool that can help you to do different things, but you can also be the one that creates those tools, right? So we work in technology. We both work for technology companies doing different things, but we want them to consider being in our shoes, or even greater shoes.
Is this voice amplified enough? Are they hearing you? Are they hearing this call? Is it working? Are you feeling sometimes you sit back and say, talk to each other, and you're like, Esther, I think we are just wasting our time. These people are not even hearing what we're saying. When you look at the applications that are still coming up, or people who are coming up with applications, you look one out of 10, maybe only one of them is the lady. Do you feel frustrated at some point, Esther?
I wouldn't say.
No,
we're not frustrated.
When we started, we'd go to a school and not even one girl would be willing to actually say what they want, how they feel about technology, or even if they want to join technology. But now, like in the context of Miss Geek, this is the second time it's going to happen. We've seen the interests of girls in terms of when you tell them you should develop a solution that is touching for an education platform, they quickly understand what you mean by a solution, right? But 2 years ago, you tell them and say, but I do not have resources. They'll start telling you a lot of excuses why they cannot do that. But now they understand that they have that drive. They know, if I work hard on this, tomorrow there's someone who's going to notice me, and actually I'm developing my skills. I'm empowering myself to be in a position to actually work harder and get where I want to be.
Where you want to be.
Yeah.
And it's good that you mentioned the issue of the Miss Geek, because for me, when you hear Miss Geek, for many, and even it's been portrayed a lot even in movies that we've seen, anytime you see a geek in a movie, it's always a guy. And that's the notion. That's the perception we've
Now you
always
have
been
two
seeing.
geeks.
Exactly. So
Two lady geeks.
it worries sometimes when you look at. I've hosted several feminists in the studio, and they've talked about how the society has made people to understand that this is how things should be. And here you are trying to raise awareness on the issues of technology, but are you happy with the level of support that you're getting from institutions that are supposed to be dealing with technology issues? Like we have Miss Rwanda, it gets national support. You see everybody talking about it. It still carries the same name with Miss Geek. At least there's a Miss there.
Ours is MS.
But do you see?
Because you
it's,
could be married. You could be
so
married. and
do
still
you
be
feel
Miss Geek.
that you're having enough support?
I think we have tremendous support
Without
from
being
my
diplomatic,
ICT.
you can-
No,
you
no,
can- you
but
can
seriously,
give-
I mean,
yes.
if you look at our first event, I mean, the girls in ICT, we don't have that many resources, but we pulled off an event, even if it was very amateur, very amateur. We still we had great support from the Ministry of Youth and ICT, from RDB ICT, from the United Nations Development Program, Rwanda, Tigo. I mean, everyone is trying to help us. In fact, for some cases, we take our very small budget. Now, this is really small. We could cover it. So we do get support, probably even more than we could imagine. Where we face a challenge, though, is in reaching out to those schools. You'll find that you reach out to a school. You give them the idea, they want a letter from the ministry or something. So because we work so much on email, we are even surprised that we're asked for a physical letter
yes.
to address exactly what it is we want, and we think, wait a minute, so this administrator is asking us for a letter to encourage their students to look at a problem statement that is affecting them and millions of students across Rwanda, an opportunity for them to innovate and compete for good prizes that are all those prizes are coming from our sponsor, the people that are supporting us. And that's the frustration, is just being able to reach out to students and having the support from some of the school heads. But really, for those that come out, they come out big. They're already putting the links on the website. They're encouraging the students to apply. But I think we would. The challenge for us is to see more girls really going in for the application.
Is it your choice?
Trying.
Is it your choice that it is not done in that level of what we see with Miss Rwanda, the nationwide kind of approach, or is it something that you're doing because of the limited resources?
Well, I mean, for Miss Geek, the reason why we came up with Miss Geek is, again, the response that we get when we talk to girls. So we thought if we do some sort of competition, that will spread the word about technology and get people critically thinking about the problems that they're facing. And I don't, we weren't really comparing with Miss Rwanda. Miss Rwanda was not in our mind at all. We were just thinking about a competition where we develop a problem statement, or the students come up with a solution. This year we went with developing a problem statement in education, a problem that they're facing themselves. How can they resolve it for themselves and for others as well, by creating, utilizing the technology that we have, but realizing the limited connectivity, the limited electricity, etc. What can they do to increase learning? Exactly. So I imagine we would want to do bigger. Maybe geeks are very subdued. We are not thinking in such a grandiose way, but we certainly would want it to get to that point, and I hope that the future presidents like Esther here will be the ones to make it bigger and better than what it is today. But we started from humble means, just using our own resources, tacking on what the ministry was supporting us. The minister has fantastic ideas of how we could do this, involve the ESC, but because of timelines, we're not able to go the distance. But at least we start small and aim big, and hopefully the impact that we truly want for the girls to want to use technology to enrich their lives, or even just consider career in technology.
Okay. So if we talk of, you you probably answer as you add on to that particular point that you're just about to say. But as you answer that, when we look at the impact analysis and assessment, you say that Miss Geek is now going into the second year, right? When you look back and you say, okay, fine, the first time we did it, we had this number of entrants, and these are the number of applications or people who came up with some of these ideas. Today, as you're calling for more applications or for more entries from people, how do you analyze the impact of whatever you guys had from the first event?
Okay, so what I wanted to say is, in terms of the impact right now, this is a permanent thing we're going to be doing. Miss Geek is going to go on every single year, right? So for the when we first started last year, the kind of application we got, would see that there was some lack in terms of concise ideation. So it was not that the ideas were not that concrete, right? But now this year, from the application, we've started saying the ideas are, I would say, much more mature. They're now understanding, they're tackling all the aspects of the education. They're looking at different aspects, and you see that as we go on, people are actually starting to have ideas that are feasible, that they think they can actually implement themselves, and this is a great opportunity for them to actually showcase them. If there's a company that is interested in that particular idea, then they take it on with that girl, and then they develop that. So it's that kind of impact we want to see, and we want to look at those applications, and we actually find that in 1 year, 2 years, one of those ideas have been already implemented, and it's impacting there's many people. And specifically for the education, if the Ministry of Education is interested in one idea or one high learning institution, this is a great idea that can help
improve the sector.
Yeah, improve the sector. Then we really want them to take that on.
Okay.
If I could add on, last year we had over 25 applicants, and when we chose the finalists, I mean, just being able to sift through the ideas that have been submitted, you see the quality of what's submitted, and you actually really get concerned. But I guess that's another conversation. Yes. But when you narrow down the 5, and then we get to interact with these students, they have never there's no public speaking training. When you're asking them a question, they're not confident in answering. Maybe and they're not confident certainly in English or even in Kinyarwanda. Either way, because of the lack of training they have, they cannot speak up. So we had intense sessions where we would have them go through their ideas, correct, build them up further, make them more clear, and then have a conversation, for them to go in front of the mic and practice. And I think what we saw was girls that came who were very intimidated, and then on the final day they were able to present their ideas. For the first time, it's especially if you've studied abroad or whatever, it's sort of a shock. But just seeing how hard they worked on really improving their presentation, it was good. Yes. And we expect that this year it will even be better. Yes. We hope to have a mentorship program for them to learn about public speaking, to learn how to really make an idea, because it's their idea, as succinct as possible, and be able to communicate that articulately in whatever language they're comfortable with. So before it was very strict on English.
Now you've opened.
Now we're thinking maybe if they prefer English, then go English. If it's Kinyarwanda, Kinyarwanda. But we know that if you're going to pitch, if say they win and someone at Mozilla is interested, they won't pitch in Kinyarwanda. They have to pitch in English. So we'll definitely encourage them to pitch in English. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, none of our English is perfect. But at the very least, they are prepared for that workplace. There is no office they're going to walk in and speak Kinyarwanda only and work and type documents only in Kinyarwanda. They will be English. So we want them. Exactly. If they're going to get an internship, they will need to have a month or so of training leading up to the competition, so they're more prepared.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll see much better yield. Now, we would love to say that all the ideas are now great businesses, etc. But the bottom line of why we are Girls in ICT is to encourage girls to get into technology, and if they win, hopefully they can, they already have the tools to go out there and make the idea into something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Two things normally happen when it comes to such competitions, where people submit some of their ideas or some of their projects that they are competing with others, and one concern is normally what happens to my idea in terms of the safety of my idea from being stolen by these two geeks and their colleagues. Some people always worry, and they're like, no, I've had probably from other competitions where your proposal was declined, or you never won, but then it was taken and someone developed it more and used it somewhere else. That's number one. Number two, they're like, okay, fine, after winning this money or after participating, what next do they do for us? Do they help us develop these ideas into something? And if they do, how many have they done for like that we can see and say, look, these ones participated in Miss Geek last year, and today look at their ideas. If you go to the Ministry of Agriculture, that application that you see for the farmers was created by one of the participants of Miss Geek. So those two concepts.
I think you raise certainly great points that I don't even think we've considered in terms of protecting the idea, because our goal is so focused on critical thinking and then being able to think about problem solving in terms of a solution. But one of the things that we can include in their training is that when you do have an idea, you make sure you protect it. But see, the thing is, in technology, ideas are not protected, right? Many times I'm sure you'll hear from techpreneurs that they've taken their idea to a big company, and that company has stolen that idea.
Yes.
But there's that's just the nature of doing business. But I think just training them and getting them to be aware is something that we can do to help them know that it's an idea. Even if it may not be great, someone can take it and do something with it, but it doesn't stop you from doing something with it unless it is patented, trademarked, etc. That's the only way it's safe, but it's going to be an uphill climb just trying to protect an idea, right? Because typically you protect a prototype of something. You don't just protect an idea, but we will certainly make sure that in their mentorship they will have a session on how to protect and protect their brain power in terms of that idea. And then for what do they do after? We're certainly very new at this, and we asked ourselves the same thing. But we do keep in touch with the girls the girls that competed. Some of them come to the meetings. They do consider themselves girls in ICT. They're looking for jobs. Some of them do have jobs. But our responsibility is to get them to think and be opened to the way the world of technology works, the way the world of innovation works, ideation works, etc. We would want to go the extra mile and pay attention to every single thing that they're doing.
Yes, after.
But we also want them to know that it's their responsibility to turn that idea into something. And we are here as a resource to support them in whichever way we can, or connect them to our networks that can support them. So we were talking about that when we were thinking about the second competition year. But then we said, wait, that is the goal, is to raise awareness
first. So that's the first stage.
That's the thing, is to raise awareness among Rwandan girls about the value of technology, what it can do in enriching your life, especially if you choose it as a career. That's our goal.
Okay.
The part after that, it lies solely on the owner of that idea to take that idea and turn it into a business, if they are so inclined to. Last year we just solicited ideas. This year we've narrowed the scope, because based on the quality that we got, we thought, okay, maybe we revise and have a problem statement. That way the level playing field, the playing field is leveled, and then get to hear how they're solving this problem from a high school perspective, from a university, from a TVET perspective. What's great is to see the response from TVET. I think it's the biggest surprise.
One of the biggest respondents.
Yeah.
So TVET and high school.
High school.
So you think, at first we wanted to see universities actually going into this, being encouraged to apply. But TVET and high school,
this is where the most responses come from.
Yes, especially
and
TVET.
the drive they have is really encouraging.
It's
so you
incredible.
see that the future is in the TVETs, the young girls that are coming out of high school. If they have a goal where they're going, they actually know.
Yeah.
They have that drive to go wherever they want to go, and this is helping them. And we think it's opening them to the doors of everything that is out there. And one of the things, some of our sponsors helped last year's competitors, give them professional skills, certification that are not always open to everyone. And we think one reason why we want to do this is because not everyone actually wants to be an entrepreneur. So you may have an idea, but
you want
what
job.
you want is just a job, right? So there's either you continue with your idea and develop it, make it a business that is great, and or you have enough skills and you're showcasing that if someone hires you, then
you use them.
Yeah, they can use your brain to actually grow their company, and you're a great asset. So, and that's the whole feel about Miss Geek. Girls have an asset in terms of technology, and they can be great employees, they can be great entrepreneurs. That's the main thing we want to show here. So yeah, I think as the year is gone, as every year we are going to improve, and we are going to get better applications, we're going to get better applicants, and we hope in 2020 would have.
That's too soon, eh?
That's too soon, I know.
No, when people say 2020,
5 years away.
It's
too far, but
in 5 years.
Tomorrow it will just be in 2017, 18, 19, it's 20.
But the high school applicants right now will be out of university,
Yes.
and most of them would have started working. And
Hopefully they'll be entrepreneurs.
But
or
from the
working.
trend you're saying, university students don't seem to be so interested in this. I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, do you feel like...
I mean, I wouldn't say they're not interested, but they're certainly the most zealous ones are the TVET, and it's. I love that, because many people think that academics is where people should be going. And I went to visit a school last weekend, and the lady said, so for those that don't excel, they'll go into TVET, and those that excel will go on to university. And I had to correct her and say, no. TVET needs people that are excelling and passionate and want a specific skill. We are hired from a technology perspective for a specific skill.
Yes.
I think our high schools and primary schools will be very enriched if they start skill specific, specialized skills training early, so students are exposed to it, and they know that, maybe I won't do all these subjects, I really want to just be a programmer, and then they are aligned to just doing that. For technology, even I would like to say a degree is fantastic, you can pursue it, but for technology, really
it's the practical
it's practical that matters.
Yes,
it's the practical that matters. That degree means nothing if you cannot program. It means nothing if you don't, you're not certified. Exactly.
But the problem we have today in the job market is that like last time I was talking to one professor who was on the show here, and was saying the challenge today is that the employers want you to have a degree, and it doesn't matter what degree it is for, and that has just been put there as a requirement. And so people always feel like, I just need to go to the university to get a degree, because they'll be hiring media managers, but I have a degree in livestock and fisheries. Just because it's a degree, I'll get an opportunity to be hired there.
Maybe we
and
can
this is
change
what
those
is happening. So what would you
can change
tell
those
the
perceptions.
policymakers today, those who are probably in those decision-making positions, so that they can support whatever you guys have seen on the ground that is hindering or probably bringing a problem in this particular area? What would you tell them?
I mean, policymakers need to understand that academics is great, but at the end of the day, skills put food on the table. You have got to be able to think. You've got to be able to do something specific. Because when someone is hiring for, let's say, for a planning person, they're not so much paying attention to your education. As for me, I mean, I've been in a position of hiring, and I stopped looking at education so much. I find it to be a bonus, but what the person has done
Or is able to do. Yes.
speaks volumes.
Yes.
Or at least what they've been able, the initiative that they've been doing. There's so much that you can get out of a resume, a one-pager typically. There's so much that you can read that you're intrigued and you want to call that person in for that interview. And education, I think, for me, is paramount. But from my experience, especially in Rwanda, especially what I see in developing in emerging markets, is that we need to pay close attention to skills, and that is most important, because you don't know what someone's life circumstances are. But if they have skills, maybe they dropped out of school because of they didn't have school fees, but they were able to acquire skills, and maybe that job will allow them to get to the level that they want to be.
And
So
probably support others.
so we cannot dismiss.
And also one thing is, if you look at graduates right now, they've not had any job or any experience. So if you go to somewhere where they're hiring and you only have your degree, and these days we know a degree doesn't mean that you actually know anything. So you're overlooked, and that's when they start bringing in, how much experience do you have? 5 years experience, and we all just graduated. What can I bring on the table?
And I've not
So
been
that's
able to
why
work.
we need to focus on skills. And even on top of policymakers, employers, what do you want? Because in 5 years, whoever you're employing right now would have enough experience to actually advance in their career, and you need someone to replace them. So what do you want to see in that graduate? So go back to the institution, partner with the institution, show them this is what I want to do. I remember when I was in my first year in computer engineering, I didn't know actually what any type of career in technology, and this is one of the things we focus on in Girls in ICT. What kind of careers can you go through? What are the different careers you can choose, and what are the requirements? So this is one of the things employers can do. Reach out to institutions, to TVET, and say, these are the kind of skills we want. This is the perfect employee for us.
For this, yes, so that they can already start
and then
preparing.
If I'm targeting to go and work for this company, I know exactly what they're looking for. Either I ask my professor to teach me exactly that, or I look for other means to learn that. So either way,
There's very little someone is going to get from a professor unless they have. I'm serious. I mean,
unless you know what
education
you want to
education
ask
is 1% the classroom and 99% self-initiative, because the professor has a syllabus that they're supposed to teach. They come, they teach. In the case of Rwanda, they tell you what needs to happen. You cannot really raise your hand. There's no reward for participation. At least the education that I had, participation has a grade. 15% of your grade
That you usually
is that you're
participate. You
raising,
raise your hand, you ask questions,
and not just any question. It has to be proper, relevant participation.
and the system today does
Ex-
not.
it
do
doesn't. So that's one thing I would say. Participation must be very crucial. But I think for me, when I'm looking to hire, attitude is everything. Because the way someone carries themselves, their attitude towards learning, their attitude towards admitting what they don't know, but the willingness to go out there and learn, and which is what we're enabling in Miss Geek, is here is a problem, think about the problem, think about a solution, how can you solve it? That type of thinking is the attitude that I want for all these girls to have is when they step into the Miss Geek training, or at least for those finalists that get to meet us, is that they get to see that hard work is required and you have got to participate. Whatever you learn at work, whatever you learn at school, whatever you learn at school is so... It's just a small percent of what you're actually going to be doing when you do step out in the professional life, and you've got to take initiative. So driving that initiative is the goal of Miss Geek, and hopefully technology is what is...
We've talked of the goal, we've talked about we've touched a bit on the Miss Geek, but of course I'm sure that those who've been watching are also listening, and maybe saw the tweet earlier that we tweeted about the show today, and they've been waiting patiently to know how they can participate, how they can be part of this initiative, how they can be part of this project. So I'll give you a few seconds to just tell us what is needed, what is required, what are the qualifications, what do they need to submit, if anything, and when is the deadline. And if they do not do it before that time, what is going to happen? And after the deadline, what's going to happen? So maybe I'll give you a chance to do that. Future president.
Really? So Miss Geek this year is, as we've already touched, we've created a theme where we're going to have applicants apply and create a solution for one challenge, which is creating an affordable education platform where we have where you can be able to offer knowledge and transfer knowledge among schools. So this is what that kind of solution we want to see. And of course, you have to include interaction between the professors and the students and everywhere. So the solution has to be a technology solution. Of course, this is Miss Geek. And the applicant has to be able to understand the users. Where in Rwanda, you do not want to see someone bringing a solution that is going to cost someone in a rural area 5 million Rwandan francs because they cannot afford that.
So it has to be realistic.
So it has to be. It's an affordable solution.
Affordable and realistic,
affordable solution, and then you also have to understand the ecosystem. So you just create a solution, tell us what is the ecosystem, what is the interaction between all those different users, how are you going to get the content to actually contribute to that platform, and basically how does that education platform work. So the deadline for the application is next Friday, 20th of March, and you just have to be in high school or university, TVET, and be a girl or a lady.
That's all.
That's all.
And
so there's a link.
They probably are wondering why I also have this project, and why is it that they're just focusing on the
You just need to work with a lady to make it happen. We get asked that question so many times, but there is no shortage of men in technology, and our goal is to get just as many women. So maybe there'll be a general competition at some point, but our focus is on the girls, because we want to see more girls join us in this great career. Like Esther said, the deadline is next Friday. There is a link online where it just tells them what the competition is, the criteria, and the problem statement on how what exactly is expected of them. We hope that we'll get as many applications as possible by the 20th. And then after we get the applications, and the girls in ICT, we are a team of 30. We'll select what we think is the other best solutions. And then they'll go through an extensive training with a company called Educate that is specialized in training. They've done a lot of training in the region. They're critically acclaimed by Forbes, so we're very excited to work with them, which is something that we didn't have last year. so we just look forward to seeing your sisters, your cousins, your friends apply.
And girlfriends and wives.
Girlfriends, etc. It's Miss Geek. As long as they're in university or high school
They
or
have- they
TVET,
can be able to
they
jump in.
can. But there's no age
There's no age
limit or
limit,
whatever. We
yeah.
just want that great idea, because if we say that you have to be 24 and unmarried and remain unmarried, that's just craziness.
It's not
So,
realistic. Yeah.
yeah.
So what's in there? I mean, after doing these applications, going through the training, what's in there? What is this incentive that they're getting at the end of the day? Do you have sort of a prize? You sort of
Yes, we do have prizes. You know, when you do things the second time around and third time around, things get better. So the first, the winner, I think that's the most interesting thing, gets 2 million Rwandan francs. For a university or TVET or high school student, that is significant. So we do have sponsors that have given us some money, and we just reward giving it to the girls. They'll also get a trip to an international tech conference, typically the IT, International Telecommunications Union meeting in Geneva, or the Mobile World Congress that takes place in Barcelona annually. Ministry of ICT and the RDB ICT are the ones that are going to be sponsoring that, so you can see that their contribution in addition to hosting us and everything. Then of course a tablet, a laptop, and of course I think the best part of it, which is the internship, where you go out there and truly see what professionalism means and put things to work. So for now, that's what we have, but we are getting good support, and we hope to see even bigger, more prizes.
And more as you move. So I'm being told our time is a bit running out a bit, but then I'd like Esther to also chip in a bit on the issue of the quality of these applications. Do you ever get to a point where you're like, we have to award them all this, but look at the quality of what we've got? It's not even viable. Do you think you might get to that point at some time?
I don't think so.
Really?
Don't think so. Because first of all, this is there's always quality. There's some quality, but at some point there's always room to grow. But why are we doing this? Because if this year we award someone, next year we are probably going to get a better application.
Do they get a chance to reapply, those who participated last year?
Unless you were not winner.
Yes.
If you were among the winners, you cannot.
So you can now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other applicants, if you are not selected, better your idea, make it
And come back again.
and come
Exactly.
back next
Alright.
year. And of course, last year we didn't have these amazing prizes. This year we have, so you can imagine what is going to happen next year. So it always gets better, and it's just an encouragement to, like, every time I look at what we were doing, the kind of interaction we had with girls 2-3 years ago, it's very much different from now. So you cannot say
The
look at
quality
the
will-
quality.
will-
And it's our responsibility to help them make sure that quality improves, right? So it's all a learning process, and even if the idea may not be so good, we work with them, and that's what we did last year. We work with them to make it better. But better from their perspective, because it is their idea, just more on grammatical and presentation skills. But yeah, it's our responsibility.
So
to make
whatever
sure
the
that they're
quality,
presenting.
so long as they have been picked out of those that you feel have submitted good projects, you now meet them and develop it
By
into
the way,
something
in the-
better.
in the
It's more
application
cleaning,
process, and while we're looking for we're choosing the best, we're not looking at do you have the best written proposal,
Exactly.
concept note? Do you know the best English? This is Miss Geek.
So what are you looking for?
So it's technology.
It's
What
the
is
idea.
your solution? Right? It's the solution we are looking at. If we can be able to grasp what the solution is,
Yes.
then nothing else matters.
Exactly.
The rest would come when in the training. That's why this
Exactly.
training really certify that we cannot require people to actually be perfect from distance. So
We know that our system is not perfect, so we can't be caught up in the quality of their writing. But if we can be able to grasp, like she said, the idea, that's already
important.
winning,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Then it's our job to help them to correct it the way
You
the
mentioned
way they need to.
the process of applying, and you said on the internet. And,
We've
and
done flyers as well in schools.
so
we
they
are
can fill some forms. Do you have any?
no.
How for those who are not
It's an online.
tech savvy or don't have the access to some of these privileges of the
But I think
internet and the electricity. How do they go about
we
it?
would want to. I mean, I think it's how bad do you want it? If the
So you would
requirement
travel
is
up to
for you,
where it is.
if the requirement is for you to use technology to apply, at the very least, that should be a requirement,
Because
right?
It's technology.
Use technology to submit your idea.
Yeah.
And if you truly want to compete, you will go to every length. That's the initiative and the drive that we're talking about, to make sure that you submit your idea in time using technology. So I don't think we'll be veering away from that. We hope that someday maybe we won't have to deliver hand letters, but certainly we shall be doing things digitally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm told it's a wrap. Time is up. Unless if you have something you want to push in last
The
minute.
final event is on 25th of April.
25th of April.
Yes,
And
and that's when we'll crown the Miss Geek.
okay.
And that is the Girls in ICT Day internationally.
Okay.
So apply.
But, I can't apply.
His sister
Please
can
tell
apply.
everyone to apply.
Oh, we can apply for them.
No, they have to apply.
Okay.
Because they have to be there. to
yeah.
present the
To
idea.
present the idea.
They have to be trained as well. Exactly. So they'll be presenting. You do whatever you need to do, but as long as they're the ones submitting and presenting the idea, that's all that matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we are happy. I mean, we're excited. Would love to see more of this kind of initiatives. And the worry for me is maybe those who would sort of feel like we also need to see the men also involved or also have sort of a thing to either improve what is already there or to work hand in hand with the ladies, with their sisters and brothers.
Maybe some gentlemen will be inspired to start some competition, right?
There are a lot of competition
Yeah, there is.
everywhere that happen, and if you really pay attention to what's going on around, there's almost like 5-6 competition that are open to everyone. So those are the right. I would say that if you really have an idea,
They should
look
go to
out
those ones
for those.
and leave the Miss Geek.
The Miss Geek,
It's
they should
true.
look at it as just one of the ways that we want to raise that awareness.
True,
in addition
true,
to the things that we strive to do
True.
in collaboration with the Ministry of ICT, the way they do the national ICT campaigns. This is just one of the ways that we're raising awareness. So everyone can join us and do whatever initiative, and we're happy to partner with anyone that has the same goal, which is to drive this technology agenda that we have and encourage as many girls as possible to join it.
Okay. We wish you all the best
Thank you.
in your endeavor. And if nobody awards you for this initiative, I will do it personally. Because we need to encourage some of these initiatives, even more.
The satisfaction comes from the results.
Okay? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Esther and Lucy. Thank you. And that's it. You have heard it all right here on One. Definitely for those who have always been saying, we'd love to see Lucy, would love to see Esther. You finally saw them right here on the program. Nowhere else you'll find such kind of guests. It's right here on this particular program. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Let's stay in touch. Keep the conversation going. Use the hashtag 101RW. Let's stay in touch. We'll see you again next time. As for now, goodbye.